Well, anyways, let's get into our favorite topic, man. It's coming up here, the All-Star game. We're going to talk a little bit about our reserves for them. We already talked about our starters last week. You can watch our fucking video if you want to listen to that. All right. This one, our All-Star reserves. I want you to let me know who your West reserves are first.
That's the rest. Well, I'm gonna hit them all in one run through, just so I can
You hit
keep up the
one
graphic.
run.
But I'll
Okay,
keep it
I
slow.
got
So
you. I got
you said West. Let me
Yeah.
start with the West. So my
Said West to
reserves.
East, yeah.
I'll start off with the easy ones like Luca, uh, Luca Doncic, Ja Morant, Rudy Gobert, Devin Booker. They're locks. I have Chris Paul in there too because I mean, it could have gone Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. The team deserves two All Stars. Both of them are playing like All Stars, but Chris Paul is obviously the main, if not the biggest reason they're winning, and I had him in there. Then, so this comes to the end of it, and I was thinking, so if I had to choose an All Star from the Timberwolves, it would actually be Anthony Edwards. I think he's maybe not been the most consistent, but he's been definitely a huge part of why they've gotten wins. He's played great. His defense has gotten better this year. He's really gone after it, and he's deserving of an All-Star. And Cat's had his struggles this year, certainly playing like an All-Star. But if they're only allowed one All-Star, would have had it be Anthony Edwards. That said, the way the All-Star is set up with Gobert, Booker, Luca, Chris Paul, and Ja, they're going to need a big, and Cat is the next up for bigs. I don't think of another big in the West that's better than Cat. So that's why Cat would take this All-Star role for me. And then to finish it off, I have Damian Lillard because he's a great player. I think 29 games that played this season, I think that's enough. Yeah, 29 games. I think that's enough to get him an All-Star, and I think he is deserving. So that's my West. Before you say yours, let me go through my East
ahead,
honorable mentions.
Go through it.
So East, I have Jason Tatum. I think he's definitely been the best player on the Celtics. The Celtics have struggled, but he's definitely played like an all-star. I have LaMelo Ball. I think what he's done with the Hornets. Obviously, he's changed their culture, their winning culture. The things he's done, look at Miles Bridges. I think a lot of his success is attributed to Lonzo Ball's play. Then I have Jimmy Butler. Now, the only reason the Heat could deserve both All-Stars with Bam, but I only have Jimmy only because Jimmy only played 26 games this season. Bam has only played 19. I don't think their games played not attributes, but deserves two All-Stars. I think because they're just as more of an All-Star nod, I have Jimmy in there because he's played more games. He's obviously the leader of this team. Then I have Bradley Beal. Wizards are finally doing decent this year, and that's obviously due to a lot of factors, but he's the biggest reason. Zach LaVine, Bulls are killing it. I had DeRozan in my starting lineup, so just like a lot of people should. Trae Young, because he's insane. It's just doing great, running a great offense when he's on the floor. And then I have Pascal Siakam, because they need a big, and I think he's outplaying his team success, and himself is outplaying Sabonis for that last, and Vucevic for that last All-Star role. So that being said, I know there's a lot missing out. It was actually pretty tough this year. Usually the last few years have been pretty like, oh yeah, like they deserve it. That's who should be All-Stars. But this year it's kind of been up in the air. Like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, both of them could easily be All-Stars. You can convince me of that. And if you had them on there, I mean, I could see you taking out Bradley Beal or Trae Young for either of those. Same thing for Jaylen Brown. I just don't think the Celtics deserve two All-Stars in this game. Sabonis, I mentioned, is great. Bam Adebayo could certainly earn an All-Star, but he's only played 19 games. I don't know if that deserves it. Obviously, with Kevin Durant being out now, somebody's going to have to fill in. Certainly could be Bam. I see Bam as probably the most likely. Julius Randle's played well. He's the best player on that Knicks team, but the Knicks haven't seen the success they wanted. And then in the West, Dejante Murray, if he becomes like with Paul George out, certainly they need an extra run. I can see him fitting into that extra spot. I mentioned Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, though he's missed a lot of time. Same deal as Bam, and I don't think he would be there for the All-Star game anyway. And I mentioned DeAndre Ayton. And that's all my all my picks. That's my honorable mention. That's who I had.
Well, in the West, you got something else to say?
No. Go on.
Okay.
We'll talk after.
In the West, I got Luka Doncic. I got your boy John Morant, who's been killing it. It was hard not voting him as a starter. Rudy Gobert, I had him as a reserve because I had Cat as a starter. Paul George, he won't be playing, but he had a fantastic season so far. Devin Booker, I think definitely deserves a spot. CP3, I was right there with you as well. And then I actually did give a spot to Dejante Murray. I think he deserves some credit for getting over 17 points per game and having almost 8 rebounds. This is a guy, the best on his team right now, who is kind of rebuilding, but he's a great corner piece for them. East reserves, I went with Jarrett Allen. That dude's just eating up. He deserves some recognition, man. The amount of alley-oop dunks he gets from Garland are insane. He absolutely deserves to be there. From the team that had traded him, probably wishing they didn't, we had the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden I have as a reserve because I ended up giving DeRozan and Trae Young both starter positions. So James Harden gets bumped to the reserve spot along with Bradley Beal. And Jimmy Butler, I gave a spot to as well. Fuck Jimmy Butler. I also gave a spot to Zach LaVine, who's been killing it this year. And Chris Middleton's got almost 20 points per game on efficient scoring. So I think he deserves to be there as well. Bam Adebayo, I gave him a spot. Ultimately, I didn't feel any other big man was quite as deserving, regardless of the amount of games played, and hoping that he gets some more games played before the All-Star break is here. Yeah, and he's back now. So, hopefully he'll probably play most of the games here on out. And then my candidates, I had Anthony Edwards there. I didn't vote him into the game, but I could definitely see him getting in as, a reserves fill-in, substitute, whatever. Darius Garland, this guy I really wanted to pencil in here. He's had an awesome season so far.
If there was one All-Star for the Cavs, it would be, I would say it'd be Darius Garland. I think he's a huge part of his playmaking, his shooting, his scoring overall. I think he's a huge part next to Evan Mobley, but I don't think Evan Mobley would make that All-Star team. If I had to pick an All-Star from Cleveland, it'd be Darius Garland. I forgot to add him in my mentions.
Dang. Yeah, I actually had the other Cavs, Evan Mobley, in my candidates as well. I think he's had a solid season. Very, very nice on defense for being a rookie. So yeah. I think I got him in as a candidate, just seeing that there's not a lot of talents in the big man position otherwise. Obviously, there's Domantas Sabonis as well, but I just felt like Evan Mobley's been more well-rounded so far this year. Fred VanVleet's another guy I had on there lately. He's just been killing it with 30-point near triple doubles, and he's totally filling that void that Kyle Lowry left. Like, he's the same guy basically. Not quite, but Jaylen Brown, another candidate here. I did not nominate Jason Tatum for anything, but Jaylen Brown I thought has had an excellent season. And then Jrue Holiday could definitely fill in there, but just not quite there with scoring in my mind, and like defense doesn't really get recognized as much on these things. And then Brandon Ingram, a guy who has been scoring a ton and being, really a right-in ship for this team lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Jaylen Brown missed some time too. That's why I said, and Van Vliet is definitely playing like an all-star. Just the record of the Raptors doesn't constitute 2 all-stars. Same thing with the Celtics. And that's why I picked Pascal. I mean, Pascal, certainly, he's a big. He's going to fit in what they need. Granted, they don't need a big for the all-star game, but I think it's tough. Him or Van Vliet, it's tough. But I just think
and we also didn't mention Miles Bridges either. I mean,
Miles Bridges could make a debut. He's certainly. I just don't know if like it's the same thing. The Hornets record, I don't know if it constitutes, and he's not playing so well, like it where it's just like, oh yeah, he has to be an all-star just because of how well he's playing. Jaylen Brown is that fringe where he's still playing so well, that how could they not like include?
The problem is there's just a lot more talent at the guard position.
Yeah,
that's just the fact,
and it's gonna get like that. The more I foresee that as I don't know how many all-star centers we'll have in 10 years, like the guys we have now. It's such a positionless basketball.
Their careers just are not very long, unfortunately. I mean, there's always a few star centers, and we've got some, but it's a very top-heavy position.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Karl-Anthony Towns. Some of the best, Rudy Gobert, some of the best players in our entire league. Nikola Jokic has an argument that he might repeat as MVP.
Certainly could, yeah. Playing great.
But after that, like top, 5-ish or whatever, you really get into guys that are either really good on one side of the ball or on the other.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But we do have Chet Holmgren coming into the league, and we have Victor Wembanyama. Maybe those guys are going to change the course a little bit.
Yeah, Chet could definitely win an all-star team with the Magic. You could definitely get on there.
Magic.
He wants to play with
what if he goes to the Knicks?
He won't go to the Knicks.
The Hawks, they're losing.
The Hawks? No.
What if the Hawks get him?
He's going to go to the Pistons, the Magic, or the Spurs once the Spurs jump the lottery and win over my Magic, because that happens to me in 2K all the time. It's going to happen in real life. It's a sign.
Chet to the Spurs, he would become the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, he would.
Just 1 year of Greg Popovich rubbing his knees, and he would instantly he'd become the best player of all time.
Yeah, probably. That's why I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Magic needs
talent. If he ends up on the Magic, he's either going to be like really, really good, and then like the team's going to piss him off and he's going to want to leave and never, ever come back, or he's going to just bust really hard.
No, if he plays for the Magic, we're so good at developing centers. No other position, just centers.
All right. Yeah. So make your time with him well. As soon as you draft him, you're in buy now mode. You're in win now mode. Get him more stars because he's bolting the second he gets.
He doesn't need more than Franz Wagner. Franz is the GOAT. He's the white Bradley Beal. You guys do have Franz. And Cole. So he's got a lot of talent next to him. We just got to get some role players.
Cole Anthony's the GOAT, but he doesn't shoot very well.
Sometimes he doesn't shoot very well.
He just has amazing games. Overall, his efficiency isn't that great, but he can light it up, and that man can rebound for how small he is.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it. The next topic.
I want to give him a freaking all-star.